Awesome. So the question that just came up is, how do couples keep the cycle from chemistry to casual to committed moving in a healthy manner? Right. So when you understand where people are at in that cycle, so chemistry is where you're seeing everything that's right. It's the dopamine hits, it's the oxytocin rush of trying new things, of having a new experience, of connecting with someone who's literally changing your chemistry. Then as you're in the casual mode, we all love to look forward to things we enjoy, like a first kiss or the next kiss or another kiss from someone we really enjoy being with, or just sharing time with someone. Or you can set adventures together and share those experiences together. So, the inside jokes start to happen typically through challenges that we share. So challenges are not necessarily a bad thing in relationships. It's the resiliency that you have together in a partnership, that you're working together to overcome those challenges. So it's the two of you against the world. That changes your life experience when you have a partner who's eager to go arm in arm, hand in hand, and share all of life's celebrations and challenges and adventures together. So when you agree to those things, that's the commitment phase. It could happen that fast. And the answer to the question is, how do you move from the casual phase into commitment? Maybe if you've been together for a very long time and you've dug routines over and over, so there's grooves in the hardwood floor, and it's like you feel like you're just roommates, or just, it's like, oh, here we go again. There are things you can do. And it could be very simple, like switching things up, because that's, I listened to a composer talking recently about how we like to be able to have the rhythm in a song, but there are things that are exciting and new and surprising. So it doesn't have to be a big shock surprise, but trying something new on the menu at a favorite restaurant, change where you're sitting at the table, switch sides of the bed. So it's experiences, education, adventures, or bonding together to volunteer and go do something together. It can be an adrenaline rush, like riding a roller coaster. It could be going somewhere new, but sharing a new experience together is a way that catapults you forward into the chemistry phase of a relationship again. It does not need to be huge. We don't always have to get on an airplane and learn about a new culture, but you can. It could be that you're getting up and doing karaoke at the local dive bar, or that you just go to listen to karaoke at the dive bar if that's not what your typical routine is. So shifting things up is what makes things exciting. And it doesn't have to be a huge gesture. It could be something small. And that's how you get the two of you against the world, right? And that's how you keep the relationship moving and flowing and interesting. So, there's all kinds of things to do in communication. And I consider intimacy a high level of communication where you can be playful with that, and support and excite one another in that way. That's true. Tom is saying you have to actually know that you need to wake things up. You can make that part of your regular routine too. All right. So I'd love to open the forum here. What's on your mind? Where are you at? And let's bring in some questions that I can answer. What happens to a couple who is committed? Are you saying recommit? The commitment is, yes, it's a figurative handshake. It happens all the time. It happened when you sent that question via chat. You sent the communication. I received the communication. And then the fact that I agreed to read the question and answer it was a commitment. Bam. Now that sends you, Tina, into chemistry mode, because you're like, oh, she said my name, she's answering my question, I'm excited, I'm getting some satisfaction. Now, it's a very small adrenaline hit. I get it. But that's how you keep things moving. You can get that excitement all day long when you get that kind of, I see you, I hear you, what you say and do matters type of feedback. It reminds you of your value in the world. And of course, that should be internal. There is something magical that happens when you receive that externally as well. All right. What else we got today? I've given you my time. Bring it. Where are you at? We've because I emailed you the how to develop an online profile that really works. If you didn't get that, ping me. Because that's the majority of the recordings that I need to record for this program. So now what I'd like to do is help you, we can customize that and learn from one another of one, how this journey is working for you. And two, if you didn't do the homework, let's get it done. I can walk you through it very quickly. And let's position you for success. So who would like to be on the hot seat?
I think if you're talking about, well, first, if you're talking about recommitment, lots of people in a long-term relationship do that many times throughout the relationship. Mm-hmm. The problem is that one person will say, yes, I will do this, I will try this, etc. And then a month later, you're back in the same position.
Right.
And you just
have to cozy there. And your brain is designed to keep you alive. And doing what you did a month later or yesterday kept you alive yesterday. So your brilliant brain is going to be, okay, we need to do what we did before because we stayed alive. Everything was fine. So I'm not talking about 180-degree change here. Remember, I'm all about being genuine and authentic to who you truly are. I talk about a one-click pivot. Let's get just outside your comfort zone and know that it's safe so that you can expand who you are and what your comfort zone actually is. But if you're doing something and you're trying something and you're trying to shake things up with the two of you, and you're like, this is a regular thing. It takes 28 days to form a habit. Is that the right habit? Does it need to be a forever habit? Does this change need to be something that's shaking things up and then you go back to your comfort zone so that you know you're safe? Or is it once a month we play this game, or we have a date and try something new, or whatever it is you have? That's why they say, don't forget to have your date with your partner. Don't forget date night, What they're not telling you is what should happen on date night. And on date night, for example, which is, I think, what you're referring to, is how do we keep things fresh? How do we make it playful? How do we keep the inspiration going? And I've worked with couples who, like, one person is really, really wants to stay in the chemistry phase. And then the other one's like, come on into the casual phase. I really mean it. I want to move to commitment. So it's important to see where each person is at in that and what's going on and why they're not in the same place. And it doesn't take much for me to be able to say, like, I'm thinking of a specific example. I can think of 100 of them, but for example, the woman who came to me, she was my client, and she was saying that her boyfriend wants to move in together, and she wasn't certain that that would be okay. And what she was telling me, what she typed to me was, I'm having money issues. And I mean, in my head, I'm like, here's this perfect match, and he wants the two of you to move in together, and really perfect match. and he's already in the casual to committed phase, but she's staying into the chemistry phase. Now, what she did right was hire me to question, why can't I move forward? So we did a little digging down, and what she was talking about was money. And it didn't take long for her to share with me that her money blocks, I think is what the current terminology is, but whatever. Her real fear is intimacy. And if she moves in with him, will she be vulnerable? Will she be able to trust him? Is that too much? And she had plenty of experiences that were traumatic as a young person, and this was a very risky situation. So I coached her through it, and what she realized is she has found someone she truly can trust, and the greatest gift she could give him was the ability to trust him, because all he wants is to support and be there and be present and partner. And one of the challenges that she was having was she didn't realize the value she brought to the relationship. So we talked about all the things that she does as a partner in that relationship, and she really needed me to quantify it. So I said, how much would you pay someone for, to help you in your business? Because she was helping him in his business. And how much would you pay annually? So she gave me a number. And she says she actually enjoys doing the cooking and the shopping. And how much, if you had to pay someone, would that cost? And so she gave me a number. And how about someone who is a confidant who you truly trust? How much is that valued at? And she gave me a number. And this went on and on and on. And we kept building this number to the point where she was worth well over $1 million annually. And she was like, so it's not just the income I bring to the relationship, it's the value I bring to the relationship. And I'm like, you got it. You got there. So what happened was she went back and she was looking at her boyfriend with new eyes. And she let her guard down a little bit, and his trust factor went up more. And he was consistent, and he was transparent. And then she trusted him more, and that built respect. So communication, trust, and respect is how you up-level a relationship. And she felt safe going from the chemistry phase of a relationship into casual. They did move in together. And Vienna, you actually know this person because we know each other through a certain organization. And now they've announced their engagement, and they are such a perfect match. So that might be a clue if you're connected on Facebook with this person. But yeah, they're very, very happy together. And some matches are easier to identify than others. So to answer your question, Tom, knowing where you're at in chemistry, casual to committed, and if someone is not at the same point or at the same phase, it's how do you help move them along so the two of you are flowing at the same speed. So one person might be, going 25 miles an hour and the other is 175 miles an hour. It's like, okay, one person slow it down, one person speed it up, but you have to do that in a way that both of you are comfortable. And then you can flow into chemistry again by sharing new experiences together. Tina, what you got?
Hello. Okay, so where I'm at, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I've got kind of a couple of dual situations. So I do understand the money situation that you asked, but I also had that slow up, slow down predicament myself,
Mm-hmm.
where I was in a position where the person wanted to, was just like, yes, let's go. But by the time I finally figured out my slowness, and usually I'm the first one, like, yes, let's go. And so the fact that I was dragging my feet was causing me alarm, but I figured out what it was. But it took me too long. And by that time, that person was like, yeah, you missed the boat. just relentless and unforgiving. So let's move on. However, I will say I want to make sure that I understand it earlier, right? Like I don't want to repeat that same
Right.
slow turtle mood, and I don't want to be blindsided. So how do I do that? And then secondly, um, not related question.
Mhm.
I'm trying to reinvent, I appreciate the value and things like that. And I'm kind of like how Steve was last week, where I feel like I don't know exactly what to do. I've got the tools, but I don't know. And even just I had a friend that said, "Hey, just go and sit at the bar, and make a lap. You will feel uncomfortable. You will feel,
Yeah, like this friend.
yeah, yeah." So I'm just like, "Ooh," and then she's like, "And then walk around, sit back down, sit where you've seen, and then eventually somebody will come." Purposely walk, but maybe you're at the bar, maybe you're just standing, but you are showing yourself freely. And I'm like, oh my God, like I am intense. Like if I'm doing something, I know where I'm going, I know what I'm doing. So this whole quandary, and even though I have the tools, I have the mindset of yes, I know what I'm looking for, I know my values and wants and desires, putting it all together, like I'm thinking about this week, right? Like there's a couple of opportunities where I'm gearing my mindset up where there's some gatherings that will happen and put me in prime spot. And I'm shaking in my boots. I'm excited, but I'm shaking in my boots. And in my mind, I'm thinking, what am I wearing? What am I not wearing? Okay, guess what? There's all the skinny minis out there. Oh, there's the young cuties, and there's this, there's that. And yeah, help.
Okay, I got you, girl. I think I got 4 things in there. So let's see if I can get them all. And Mel, I'm very glad that you're here. Welcome. Okay, so number 1 was, how do you identify the right one without letting a good one pass you by, right? Well, let's just say if they pass you by, my feeling was it wasn't going to be a good fit. I mean, no, I don't know how long I don't know. Sorry, let's next. And the idea here is, don't get mired in the mud because of that, but rather it's like, all right, here we go. We're starting fresh. Here we are. And really knowing who you are and who you're not will help you with that. Because when you have clarity on your goal, your purpose, what you want out of your life, you won't be as distracted by these sparkly objects over here. And also, I heard, the competition out there. There is no competition for you, Tina. You are absolute perfection exactly as you are. There's a lid to every pot. I need a better saying than that, but you can't worry about I'm not enough of that and that and that and that. That is, I think I may have mentioned FOBU, of this adorable little monster inside of you or just outside your head that encourages you to behave in such a way that you're changing how you act based on what you think other people might be thinking. That's social media pressure. It's your background and what you were told. It's how to be a good girl or a good boy, how to be respectful, how to behave. It might be your friends telling you to behave this way. So this is the hand signal. I don't know why it came up, but I do it every time with this. For example, whoever raised you, your mentors, your parents, your teachers, whoever is here, they gave you the best they can. They gave you the best they had, considering their environment and variables and what they knew about the world. You are here. You have your own goal, your own journey, and your own set of variables. So in fact, the only person who knows the right thing for you is you. You're the only one, and you know the best. You are the best judge of what risk you're willing to take to make a decision on something. And even if that's, putting one foot in front of the other, or if it's, I'm going to go to some place where people gather, like you were saying, a bar, it could be a party, it could be anything. And knowing how to be present. I have one rule, it's show up. You could be the best you there is, but if you don't show up, like in your best form, in your best self, as the best you are in this moment, then you're not. So there's no good in it. Be yourself, show up as the best version of you, and really show up being present. So you said you've got some activities or, gatherings that you may be attending this week. Here's my suggestion. And you kind of gave me a little clue into what might be going on with you. Rob, I'll get to you. I see your question there. And what I say is, when you're in an environment where you need to be present and you're feeling like retreating to the couch and slippers and Netflix would be so much easier, how about finding stability? Put your weight between either each hip or each foot on the ground, sway a little bit side to side to find center, sway back and forth to find center, and take a deep breath. All the way down. Root yourself. You belong here. You deserve to be here. You are worthy. You are valuable. You are valued. You make a difference with your presence. You can take up the space you take up, and that place is going to see your value. So, Tina, here's the other clue that you gave me. I know where I'm going and I'm excited, but then I'm shaking in my boots. So this implies something, and I may be way off on this, but I'm going to take a risk. You may be really amazing professionally. Like, I would hire you that fast to do a professional job. You sound focused, you can get it done. And when you have that kind of attitude, you know what happens? Everyone clears out of the way. Is that right? Now, what I'd like to invite you to do, and again, the soundboard in a recording studio, is pull back that intent and pull up the openness, and not female, but femininity. So men can do this too, but this openness, this softness, this a playfulness, it changes everything. When you are sitting somewhere and you are open to receiving a connection, it's very different than that's not my phone. I'm on my phone, I'm writing my thing, I'm very busy, blah, blah, blah. You're not going to bother me, are you? Blah, 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 blah. But if I'm here going, and I see you and I'm going to smile and I'm going to confirm, you should come over and sit with me because I'm fun. That's going to change your experience. And you've barely done anything. I have seen this change lives. All right, so pass you by, reinvent yourself, be present. I know where I'm going, excited, competition. I think I got them all. Did I get them all?
Yeah, I think so. And I'm going to try that suggestion. I'm not sure I know how to do that suggestion.
It's a biggie. I could do a whole workshop on it. I will tell you. I can cite a couple of times when I've seen this very loudly. I was with a client and we were at a Broadway show together. But first we were having dinner, and she spoke with the sommelier, and she said, I've been to that region of France, and they had this banter, and it was very engaged. And then she kind of overtalked him and made a good decision based on her own experience. So he felt like, okay, where did you need me? Whereas initially she was making him feel valued and valuable. Like it's not something she could have just Googled to choose the wine on the list. So here we had an expert and he really wanted to make a suggestion and a recommendation. She can choose any wine she wants, but thanking him for his input that helps her make her choice would have been a different way than, okay, well, I've been there and I know. Got it? All right. Then the next thing that happens, we get up from the table. This is different timing, but and she says, we need to get to the theater. And she starts a beeline for it. And I'm like, oh God, I think I know what the challenge is here. Because everyone cleared out of the way and she was closed off. So at the theater at intermission, we're drinking champagne. And I said, okay, this is how this is going to roll. Point to a person. I don't need to say or do anything or make any large gesture, but I can get that person to look at me. She's like, no, you can't. Yes, I can. So she points to a person and I send out that message just like that. The person looks at me. Give me another. I wasn't standing up tall. I wasn't waving my arms. I wasn't saying anything. But if you understand that you are a frequency, play this game of be invisible in a crowd, get through it fast, or take up some space and invite people in. It changes the approach that people have to you. It's a great one. It's a great one. And I'll give you one other quick example of that. We drove across the country from California to South Carolina. And one of my friends who decided to join me on this journey was driving. So she's a little stiff. We pull into a Quickie Mart truck stop and she gets out of the car. And what she did was amazing to me. And I said, I need to do a reenactment. And I don't know that I will do it justice here. But what she did was she got out of the car and she started to stretch. So we all knew that's what she was into, right? But she was like, oh, her hair went everywhere. People were stopping and rubbernecking. It was Selma Hayek all the way. And she goes on, oh. And it was like, wow, we want what she's having, right? She was so in her body. And then it totally changes. And she goes, and she walks off. And I'm like, just happened there? And I said, did you have to go to the bathroom? But I mean, it was such a shift from being in her body to being in her brain. And that's what's happening with you, Tina. So see if you can get into your body, trust your instinct, fill your senses will be another way to do it. Well, I really did myself a number there. And all for the love of the story. And that will be how you can integrate in. You are a brilliant brain and you pull data in from the world around you through your brain, through your senses. So stimulate them, be exciting. Sight, touch, taste, sound, smell, use them all. Okay. Rob. All right. How long into the relationship, Rob asks, should you bring up more difficult subjects such as values, personal needs, etc.? Okay, Rob, how soon do you want to know about it?
You mean like for the other person?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say for me by the second or third date, but certainly no more than a couple weeks in.
Right. I totally agree with you. In fact, so if someone you know is connecting you, then you can ask your friend. If you're meeting someone in person, we want to make sure that you've got some really key open-ended, so not yes or no answer types of questions. So that, and you've got them set up because you know what you value, right? You've got your core values. and you know the values of someone you'd like to invite in to you. You need someone who appreciates your intelligence, for example. You need someone who acknowledges that you are logical. And in fact, so intelligent that sometimes, responding to emotions is like, what? That does not make sense. So having somebody who has a balance and understands that you need the logical support, or who cannot articulate, just give me a moment, let me think this through, or I'm super sensitive today, somebody who can articulate their emotions to you so that you can then be responsive to them, because you totally care. You're a very caring person, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be like picking up the secret mind reader required cues. Nobody is, by the way. And it's really hard for the emotionally charged people to be like, I can anticipate that in 28 days, for example, nudge, nudge, say no more, every 28 days, a partner who you may be interested in may suddenly be going through some upheaval. By the way, that's a lunar and menstrual cycle, if you didn't get the hint. So I'm going to be very clear. And you can literally, my late husband was a genius on this one, and he counted and he figured, here's too much information. Mine fired every 28 days, but they were off from each other. So he knew every 28 days, get the house clean before I got home, bring flowers, tell me I look pretty. That's a good man, because he was like, yes. Because knowing that we have those kinds of cycles, being able to anticipate them is a loving gesture. Even if I didn't really need it, certainly didn't hurt. Yay. And the other, so I want to stick on your question, and then I want to talk about the obligation Richter scale. It is so thoughtful and considerate. Thank you. So the finding the, and we can craft these questions of knowing that someone will understand and value you for knowing pi out to the 100th decimal, because that's cool. Come on. And it's just one indicator of the magnitude of your brilliance. That's a playful one. So we want to find someone who sees that as an attractive gift of yours. And then also for you in exchange to say, if there's something, I wouldn't say bring this up on the first date, but I suggest using what I call the obligation Richter scale. And we made this up because do you remember that one? Like I told you before. I will share it with everybody here. But my late husband was very, very brilliant. And sometimes he missed the emotional cues, which is why he had to count to 28 to know this is what you do. So that's how he stretched his strengths and strengthened his weaknesses for proper balance, right? So what we learned was he needed time to decompress after driving, after commuting. And I, on the other hand, had been there going, I was waiting for you. I've got dinner ready. I've got everything set. Well, I couldn't wait for you to come home and play with me. And he's like, give me a moment. And in that, I'd be like, well, on Thursday, my friends and I want to go out and play. Do you want to go? Do you want to go? Do you want to go? And he's like, ooh, he was calmer than me, as you could guess now. And so we decided that we would attach a scale to this. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, it's really a 5 if you want to go out with me and my girlfriends on Thursday. If you want to come, great. We don't care, but we love, you're welcome if you want. If it's something that's like, I would like him to be there, it's a 7. And I say it's on a scale of 1 to 10, but we never used 1 through 5. So, my prerogative, I made it up. And then if it was my parents' anniversary dinner, it's a 9-10, show up. Because that way his logic brain could understand that this has more emphasis on it and he needs to be there. But going
that
out on
makes sense.
Thursday, he would make other plans. So those are some tools that I think would be helpful to you in the dating world. Asking those open-ended questions, like if you're family oriented, how do you enjoy sharing holidays? Awesome, thank you. And how, you know, and I'm trying to think of customizing these to you. I don't know if you want to have children with someone, but asking the questions of, you know, what do you want? What would be your passion? If your dreams came true, what would your life look like? You know, because then you've put them in a positive light. Dreams are coming true. I'm seeing myself in this amazing relationship. And when she says something like, I'm in a great partnership and we're building a family together, then you know that you have that in alignment. And then if it gets close to that, and if it's something that you want, I don't know if you want kids or not, but if that is something that you want, then you can say something like, is that something that you want in your life? Where are you at? And how, and that opens that conversation, which is an important one for younger people, especially. If you're at the point where you're looking for a companion to have adventures with and to inspire you to get out and up and into the world, then again, look for somebody who's very much in their bodies, not as much as in their heads, and ask them, you know, on a Saturday, what would be a perfect Saturday in your mind? What would, you know, how would you enjoy sharing all of these things? What you're looking for is a partner in adventure, then find out what kind of adventures they love and what you would enjoy sharing together. All right. I think I barely have time for one more. And yes, communication does go both ways. So if you and I haven't already spoken and done the one-on-one, please feel free to put time on my calendar at theartofrelationshipping.com. If I've got you on, I look forward to seeing you. And we will have an open Q&A forum for the most part next week. And that's our last week together, correct? And then that implies that it's almost Tom's birthday. I've connected. Yes, book a consult. Oh, no, book 50 minutes, Marie Louise. We need more than 20 minutes. You deserve more than that. So get the time that you need. And I'm here for you. Yeah. And Tom, happy birthday coming up. I've connected that good experience with the culmination of this program. All righty. Amazing job. Steve, it's very good to see you. And right, so Tina's birthday was last week. Happy birthday. It's time to make some things happen. Drum roll, please. I got 3 people calling me last week who I helped go from lonely to love, and they were calling to tell me that I got to be the first to know that they were announcing their engagements. 3. I'm like, yes. I thought 1 would be good. I got 3. Let's make it you now if this is what you want. If you're ready for it, let's make it happen. So I will talk to you soon, and I'll talk to you Tuesday, if not before. All right. Mwah.
Thank you, Michelle.
My pleasure. Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good week all.